Hey everyone, Virgos here. So before anything else, let's give credit to where it's due. Props to Meui for sharing this amazing discovery to everybody in the TFD community. And if you haven't seen this video yet, I have the video link down in the description. So if you haven't seen it yet, make sure to go ahead and check that one before you continue watching this video. Okay, so let's get down to business. And which weapon is actually the best for the Zenith skill? And I'm here to tell you it actually depends. So if you already have a fully built piercing light, and if you've already been farming for your reactor for a couple of days, and I know these are hard to come by for the with the reactors that have the best in slot subsets, please don't shit on yourself. Like, don't regret for doing that decision, and I'm going to tell you that in a couple of minutes. Okay, so first things first. While I do agree that Mei's discovery is actually amazing, I do disagree on some point. And firstly, he missed a couple of stuff. And when he said that weapon damage actually doesn't matter, it does matter a lot when it comes to the piercing light. Firstly, it's because of the cryo debuff that her first or second skill applies to the boss. Now, this cryo debuff applies 50% additional weapon damage. Okay, so before we get to that, I want you to refer to the picture on the screen. So in this picture, whenever you fire your Z skill, you are actually doing two types of damage. And I know you can't see it clearly, so I put another text above. So the 3.7 million, that is actually your skill damage. And there's another one on top of it, which is 2.4 million. That is actually your piercing light damage. And whenever you hit a boss that has a cryo debuff inflicted on them, that piercing light damage will be dealing an extra flat 50% on top of it. Okay, so the next one that he missed when he said that weapon damage doesn't matter when it comes to Hailey is Hailey's passive skill. Now, this passive skill increases your weak point damage the further you are away from the target. Now, make no mistake, this weak point damage doesn't apply to your skill damage. It applies to your weapon. So that is the reason why most content creators out there go for the piercing light, because of its high base damage, and which is furthermore amplified by the modules that you use for it. And if you use it with Hailey, and if you are at the optimum distance away from the boss, you will be dealing a lot of damage, and depending on which boss, this damage is close to your skill damage. Okay, so having said all that, let's dive down and do a math simulation between the two weapons. Alright, so this is assuming that all hits are weak point damage, and all those weak point damage are doing a critical hit. Alright, and also let's also assume that the Perforator is fully built. It has all the necessary modules, and to justify that 500,000 per hit for the weapon damage for the Perforator is because we are already using 3 weapon slots, and the special module slot isn't being used for a damage module type. So I think 500,000 is a good amount. It's a generous amount. My Disastrous Devotion is actually doing about 700,000 per hit with fully built DPS modules. So I think 500,000 is a good amount. Right, so before anything else as well, please do note that regardless of your weapon, as long as it matches your reactor, and let's just say that both reactors for both weapons have the same subsets, both weapons will be dealing the same amount of skill damage for Hailey's Z skill, which is a Zenith. Okay, and the simulation as well comes in 2 parts. The first 2 shots will the pre-dangerous ambush damage. These 2 shots won't have the dangerous ambush buff with them, so they are lower. Okay, and in my case with the piercing light, I can actually knock down Swamp Walker within the first 2 shots, and let's just say that the Perforator as well can do the same. Right, so take a look at the numbers and decide for yourself, and these are my findings. Alright, so one last thing. I also disagree with him when he said that you can't kill Swamp Walker without using Hailey's second skill, and I will include 4 simultaneous Swamp Walker kills by the end of this video, so you can actually watch that. The piercing light can actually kill him with 5 to 6 shots. Okay, so I think if I have the best in slot reactor, I can actually kill him in 4 shots, but I don't have that, so this is what I have. Okay, so here comes the verdict and the pros and cons as well between the two weapons. So if you are a new player and you just got Hailey and you're just starting to build your the Perforator setup is the best for you because you will be saving a lot of crystallization catalysts. Secondly, if you're a player like me who can't aim for shit, and Perforator is actually the best setup for you as well, because all you need to do is get into that V skill and go to that Z skill and start spamming the shit out of the boss, and without hitting any weak points, without stressing too much about it, you will still be dealing the same amount of damage. And yeah, as for the players who've already built up piercing light, and if you got it maxed out, you've been farming your reactor for a couple of days, you got the best in slot subsets, please stick with it. The only downside is we always have to hit the weak points of the boss for us to be able to deal the maximum amount of damage that we can. And same goes for the players with the afterglow. Still the same setup, still the same playstyle. All right, so that is it for me today. And I just want to point it out there that I'm not trying to discredit Meui. I just want to point out that he did miss a few stuff, especially when he said that the type of weapon that you use for this build doesn't matter at all. But yeah, if you have the piercing light or the afterglow, you're still good. Okay, so thanks for tuning in. Hope to see you in the next one. Perkos out.